Speedrunning an intro here. I just learned about some of the most entertaining drama of 2024. I saw it through Evil Pineley's video covering the situation 2 weeks ago, and it is still going currently today. It's about the CEO of a parchment paper business losing his mind and having this whiny temper tantrum meltdown, all because he watched a TikTok video of a girl being cooked a meal by her father.
When I told my dad I was going to be getting him the same pans that Gordon Ramsay has, he was so excited. I'm talking about the hex-clad pans, and today
it's a super innocent video of this girl's dad making a meal, and the CEO of parchmentpaper.com was angrier about this than he would be if he walked in on his wife having sex with another man. Though it is quite the stretch of imagination to envision this guy, this lunatic, with any kind of companionship in his life. So after watching this, he was infuriated, went on the actual company's business account, and left a mean comment, which started a series of events he couldn't have possibly foreseen.
I posted a video yesterday of my dad cooking for me with these hex-clad pans that we had gotten. There was a comment on there where the person goes, "Must be tough living a life on easy mode." I also didn't think the comment was rude at first, so I responded with, "Lucky to have parents who make it possible." And they responded, "Yeah, we get it. You have no skills and family money."
That's already such a weird comment right there. Must be nice living life on easy mode when it's just a girl getting cooked a meal by a caring father. Like, how bitter and miserable can your life possibly be to just see something like that and be like, I gotta give her a piece of my mind? That's a line that's usually used in reference to camming or OnlyFans or something. Must be nice living life on recruit difficulty because men are giving you a ton of money just to be hot or be naked or something. And this guy's taking that same energy and putting it into this situation where it's just a girl being cooked a meal by her father. Make it make sense. So he's so upset that he's doing this from the actual business account for parchmentpaper.com. So the Parchment Paper Patriot is really having a conniption. And then the poster responds saying, you know, it's supportive family, got lucky. She said she didn't even find it rude at first, which I don't know how you would see that as anything other than rude. But regardless, her response was super sweet, and he gets even more heated about that, fucking steam coming out of his ears, and goes, "Yeah, we get it. You have no skills and family money." What kind of projection is this? Holy insecurity. What do you mean you have no skills? All she did was show a video of her dad cooking her a good meal. It's ridiculous to assume that she has no skills. It's based on nothing. She could have bow hunting skills, nunchuck skills. She could be one of the most skillful human beings on the fucking planet. We have no idea. And then he's going, it's just your family's money. You're suckling off their bosom because your parents have money. What is happening here? Do you have no skills because you probably order Uber Eats all the time? Is your skill just ruining businesses? Like, I mean, that's a pretty cool skill, I guess. But anyway, this is only the beginning of his rampage, and he just fully self-destructs over the course of the next few hours. It's like Chaozu from Dragon Ball Z, when Chaozu latches onto Nappa and blows himself up, but the sacrifice was in vain because Nappa barely felt anything, really. That's what happens here. Parchment Paper Patriot blows up, and the girl, totally fine, and makes an absolute clown out of this guy. Dunks on him. She obliterates this man.
And at that point, I'm just like, okay, what the hell? Like, maybe this account is hacked, because from a business account, that seems kind of weird. So I send them an email and I'm like, hey, like, I think somebody's on your business account, like, leaving cyberbullying comments. Didn't say anything else. That was it. And then I get an email from the CEO of...
I think anybody in their right mind would assume that that business account is hacked, because what little toddler would be shitting their pants, soiling their diaper over something as simple as watching a TikTok video of a girl being cooked a meal by her father? So I think that's very sound logic. Oh, this account must be hacked. I'll let the business know. So she reaches out, and the CEO himself, Brandon Howard, steps forward, saying, "I don't consider stating factual information is cyberbullying, but if you're offended over a comment about having no skill set while getting to frolic through life with family money as bullying, I'd call the cyberbully police. Delete the comment and move along. Cheers." Brandon, I think the department we need on this case is the Cringe police, because Jiminy Christmas, holy cannoli. Oh, he tried a facts don't care about your feelings moment there. What facts are we talking about? Her having no skill set? You have no idea who she is. You know nothing about her. All you watched was her get cooked a meal. I'm sure your parents cooked you meals at some point, right? Maybe they don't anymore because you're probably insufferable to be around, so they probably cut you off. I imagine that's the case, which is why you're so upset over this moment. I don't see at all how this would be indicative of her just frolicking through life, coasting off of her family's money. That's a unreal leap in logic based on nothing at all. And honestly, she was like a good Samaritan here, like looking out for your business, thinking that you might have been hacked because of how awful this behavior is and how terrible of a look it is for your business. And then you double down and make things significantly worse by being this big loser. Also, I love the chutzpah here from Big Baby Brandon to claim that she was offended over his comment, when this sensitive worm was offended first over her being made a meal. This guy needs to call the wambulance because he can't stop crying about this video of a father making a meal for his daughter.
Considering my parents literally grew up in mud huts, worked their ass off to get out of India, get us here, and get me to the position that I am and able to have a full-time job and a side career. Then he goes back to the page and goes, cyberbullying is even more funny, and the fact that you emailed us to tell us is actually hilarious. Enjoy frolicking through life and leave the rest up to us adults who create actual economic value without a trust.
Yeah, leave the heavy lifting up to the real adults, like Brandon Howard, CEO of ParchmentPaper.com. It's comical that the parchment paper guy is trying to act hard here. Like, I don't know what he expected to happen. He just looks so stupid, claiming that she's like a trust fund kid based on nothing. Literally nothing. All just gobbledygook here. All you saw was a video of her getting made a meal by her father. How could you possibly connect all of these weird dots? To me, it seems like the person who's really frolicking through life on easy mode is you, who has unlimited time in the day to respond to random people on TikTok and leave comments that just let everyone know that you're an outrageous asshole. Like, you must not be doing that well business-wise, if that's what it's boiled down to here.
They did send me a legal notice. It came from info@parchmentpapers.com, and it says that they are really worried about the safety of their team, and if I don't remove the defamatory posts on TikTok, they will be taking legal action, which I don't believe it's defamatory
because it's not defamatory at all. All she did was share his comments, which are public, in that email, his statements, all from his mouth. This stupid douchebag is just doing one of those desperate Hail Mary maneuvers when they have nothing else left and trying their absolute best to save a sinking ship from the holes that they themselves have poked in it. And it doesn't work. And it actually leads to him looking like even more of a clown because she points out some pretty interesting things about this cease and desist.
So yeah, like, I don't believe it's defamatory. I also don't believe you have a legal department because you signed it incorrectly. It says legal department at parchmentpapers.com. You forgot the dot.
Did you forget to delete the part where it says like your contact information because you're using a template? And also, what's with the cease and desist? I thought it was CEASE. Who's doing your spell check?
Good heavens, Brandon Howard did some ayahuasca and tried to send a cease and desist and lost himself somewhere in the sauce. So apparently it was signed incorrectly from legal department at parchmentpapers.com. And then here's some more information on it, I suppose, where he left in your contact information in brackets. So as she points out, that means he's most likely using a template here. That is actually that shit on a teleprompter where it's like, wait for applause. And you say it out loud and you're like, ugh, I made a big boo-boo because I wasn't supposed to read that. He fucking left that in. This absolute buffoon. And the goober doesn't even know what a cease and desist is. He did seize and desist. Holy shit. I think he's the only one that works at this company. Nobody else saw this before the email got sent out. His supposed legal department okayed this. If he does have a legal department, they need to be fired right now. They need to get fired yesterday, because that is a disgrace. That is not a legal document whatsoever. Fucking your contact information in brackets, cease and desist. You couldn't have made that any worse. This legal document he tried to send over is now more worthless than the parchment paper that he's built his life upon.
Another day, another email. This time you decided to fix the typos. Congratulations. And you also told me you're fixing the typos. Very interesting thing for your legal department to say.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks. She is cooking him harder than the meal that her father cooked her in the first place that started all of this. I love how he proudly calls attention to fixing the typos. Like a student in class, like, excuse me, teacher, I fixed the spelling mistakes in the cursive. Fix the typos just in case you couldn't figure out we're very serious about this issue, as your direct actions to intentionally harm to us. Oh my god, the grammar is diabolical as well. and our company is not being taken lightly. We expect action to be taken within 48 hours. See attached. It's probably a picture of Brandon Howard's butthole here going spread goatsy on her. So, this is clearly, again, written by someone that is lacking a 4th grade education. Brandon, I think your first hire at parchmentpaper.com, or pardon me, parchmentpaper.com, should be an English tutor for yourself here. This is bad. How you even attempt to run a business is beyond me. I guess they just let anyone into the parchment paper industry these days. But, yeah. So, Brandon again tries to strike back here, and again looks super dumb for it. But congrats on fixing the typos, idiot.
But your cease and desist at the bottom, I saw that it said rocketlawyer.com. So of course I had to call them and ask them, is this a real legal document? And they said no immediately, and they said this looks like a phishing scam and you should probably not respond.
Oh god, even rocketlawyer.com's shooting spitballs at Brandon now. Just saying that, no, it's definitely not real, it's probably a phishing scam, don't respond to it. Oh, what do you use the parchment paper for, Brandon? Honestly, it's almost poetic that the guy who owns a paper business can't read or write very well. I think that's poetic almost.
Anyways, then you decided you're going to start using my work email, which is public, to sign me up for corn sites, for Scientology, but you forgot that those companies will actually send you the IP where the accounts were made from. And it's funny because it's pinging in California, and I'm not in California, so... But I do remember that on Trustpilot, when you had your address up, it was coming up in California. Suspicious, huh?
Brandon's out here collecting L's like they're the Infinity Stones. He is greedy for that shit. He can't stop losing. And I can't stop thinking about how he signed off that legal document about, like, having 48 hours to comply or whatever. Trying to give it, like, a deadline. Like, this is the ultimatum. You've got to do it within 40 hours or else it's gonna get serious if you couldn't tell. That's just so lame. Like, I feel like he must have just watched Mission Impossible at some point. This message will self-destruct upon finishing. That kind of thing, and he tried to channel that into this document here to give like a sense of urgency, but it falls so flat.
But you want attention so freaking bad because you will not stop talking about this. You are basically the only one who is still talking about this at this point. Since my initial email to you where I thought your company was hacked, I have not tried to contact you. At first, you were laughing and sipping Mai Tais on the beach, and then you were having crybaby sales because this was drawing you so much attention.
So this video is only 3 days old, which is weeks after Brandon's biblical meltdown, and he's still going on about it. So this is a screenshot from his crybaby special, which, oh my god, the irony almost makes me sick. This fucking guy lacks self-awareness to an almost delusional degree. He is the only one that has been crying. He started with the waterworks and the French cries because he watched the girl get cooked a meal by her father. He is the crybaby, and yet he's still trying to push it on everyone else like they're the problem. Our thousands of real customers will appreciate this. On sale, custom dimensions on demand. Boy, howdy, Brandon. Custom dimension parchment paper? I'm out the door. I gotta get on that right now. All these real customers are probably just so excited by this. Nothing makes me believe in a company quite like them referring to their customers as the real customers. I'm sure there's probably dozens of them. Dozens.
Your fake legal letters were not working. You thought it would be a smart idea to reach out to my boss at the agency that I work for and ask him to remediate the situation for you. You thought you could tell my boss to tell me to delete my videos. Just because you involved your business by commenting from your business profile does not mean that you get to include my place of work.
Pathetic, slimy tactics from an absolute greaseball here. So he apparently contacts her boss to try and whine to him to fix it, which obviously didn't do anything. Brandon, this is so sad. This is so embarrassing.
When all of this failed, you thought it would be a great idea to send me one more email stating that you will deal with it as you see fit, whatever the hell that means. And then you decided to add this banner to your website. I'm sure you think that
this is when it gets so spicy. We do not support woke, feminist, cancel culture, hate mob groups who do nothing positive in our community. On his official parchmentpaper.com website, this guy has lost his marbles. He's off his gourd right now. He's going sicko mode. Brother, what are you even talking about? All she did was showcase your comments and made fun of you. What is the woke feminist cancel culture movement here? You made yourself look stupid and people clowned on you for it, rightfully so. You are the problem. And also, didn't you just try one of those cancel culture maneuvers by contacting her boss and her place of work to get her in trouble because of you and your beef with her? How can you lack self-awareness to this degree? It's almost criminal, I would say. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. So he's got this now proudly posted on his website at that point, and I also love how he says that she does nothing positive for the community. When you came out of nowhere, the negative Nancy, just saying that she lives life on easy mode and has no skills and relies on her family's money, all just because she had a video of her father cooking for her. What are you talking about? What positive shit do you bring to the world, Brandon? Now, I will say, that section right there is just so outlandish with the woke feminist cancel culture mob being on the paper's website. It's so over the top that I half believe that might actually be faked by somebody, and I also struggle to believe that Brandon would be competent enough to even put that on his website in the first place. I just don't think he has the capability to do that. And I really don't think he has a team around him. I think it's just him. So I think that one might not be real. But to argue against that point, his statements on the official Black Label Paper Instagrams echo that same sentiment about like the woke cancel culture mob and all of that shit. So there is a chance that it's real. There is a very good chance that it's real, but I do want to put it out there that I haven't been able to 100% confirm beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is, because as of right now, it's not on the website. But he could have just deleted it after backlash.
But you continue to talk about it, you continue to make stories about it, and you continually want the attention. As if all of this was not enough, you decided that you were going to start making all of your stories on your Black Label Paper account involving your other company now for no apparent reason. Take down another company, why don't you?
So this is his other business that he's now calling in off the bench for this drama. I cannot imagine why he thought that'd be a good idea, but it's Black Label Paper. So all of his businesses are parchment and paper related, and I would wager a guess that the quality of his product is most likely atrocious, probably not even like worthy to be toilet paper if I had to guess. So he goes, all you fucking losers need to stop messaging us about a fake TikTok account made by then her and her dumb-ass minions because her fragile little ego couldn't handle a couple smart-ass comments on IG about skill set and money. I've never had the commie bullshit app TikTok in my entire life. A bold-faced lie. Also, why would you be posting this on your business account again? Like, your real customers that didn't know about any of this are now being made aware of it, and you look so weak and pathetic in all of it. And tell that little... Oh my god. Oh, what? Oh, I can't even read these. Holy shit. Fucking losers, I swear, it's been 2 weeks almost and still have to deal with this childish bullshit. You are the only one keeping it up, by the way. You are the only one that still is doing this and engaging with it. No one else is talking about it. This drama it's dried up. It's gone stale. But he keeps putting it on people's radar. He keeps serving this up on a plate to us. He's cooking it for us. And we're eating it. He's doing it. He's the chef. She is too immature to settle this privately, and I'm not going to let some woke hate mob ruin my reputation because they live in some mystical fairyland of make-believe and think because they have 20k followers they're doing something in life. Clown emojis. I also can't help but laugh at how much he keeps trying to throw out woke, cancel culture, all of that kind of shit. Just a bunch of buzzwords that don't even apply here, because all that happened was she showed these comments from a laughably embarrassing CEO that he publicly made and then shared his email where he doubled down on it. That's it. It's all his fault. There's nothing else beyond that. And he just can't accept it. He can't come to terms with reality because he lives in the mystical fairyland. Like, he's in the fucking Narnia. Nobody else. It's just him. Here's another one of his posts, this time on a really cute background. He talks about Business Insider and some articles reaching out for a comment. Some fragile ego wannabe influencer IG about their lack of skill set and frolicking through life, where she got so offended and cited the woke hate mob smear campaign against me to get me canceled. Fake accounts were made by her delusional woke followers. He just keeps sprinkling that in there as much as possible, just trying desperately. I cleared up the reality of the situation with all three media outlets. It didn't fit their narrative either, which was to further extend the adult children drama. God. So after 9 years in business, 3 business publications don't care about the good I've done and the help I give to people on a daily fucking basis. Yeah, I'm sure your parchment is invaluable. I'm sure you're doing a great service. You really seem like a stand-up gentleman. Their entire goal is just to hate people who try and do good. You really seem like you're striving to do good, Brandon. You really fucking do, brother. Yeah. What a saint. Oh, they demand respect, yet do absolutely nothing to earn it, and hate every person who doesn't bend over for their spineless agenda. If you're going to try and shit on me, my brand, business, and companies, you losers need a job, hobby, life outside of TikTok. Fucking losers in their 20s with an 11-year-old intelligence, but yeah, I'm the asshole. Yeah, you are the asshole, Brandon. Also, you're the one with the 11-year-old intelligence. You can't even read and write properly. You tried to make a legal department, like, to cosplay as a legal department, and couldn't even get the emails correctly. Typos out the wazoo, and even in the ones where you fix the typos and even proudly proclaim that you fix the typos, you still make a typo. You suck. Like, you are the one with the child brain.
Sure what your end game here is, and I'm not even sure that you know what your end game here is, but in your own words, I don't have time to bicker back and forth about some nonsense comments, nor is it my problem that you're offended over them.
Yeah, that about sums that up. I think she did a great job of just closing the book on it with that final statement there. Fucking fire. I think this whole drama has been so wacky. Like, entertainingly silly. All over nothing. It started over nothing. Just a really insecure, sensitive guy who lost his mind. And couldn't help but do as much damage to him and his business's reputation. And very impressive stuff. I had to talk about this when I learned about it. Huge thanks to Pinely for showing me this, because this is gold. This is some of that, like, top tier drama. You know what I mean? So I had to talk about it. That's about it. See ya. Have you ever heard of Andy Owen? Well, you're about to. I'm gonna drag you kicking and screaming in front of an Andy Owen original here with this big meltdown that she had on video where she made an absolute fool of herself. Now, Andy Owen is the head of Miller Knoll, which is the company most famous for their Herman Miller chairs. They're high-end chairs, and with the way people talk about them, I have to imagine that shit is made out of, like, unicorn hide or something. Like, it is actually fucking sewn with angel's tears. It must be so fucking comfortable with the way people rant about how amazing they are. I've never seen them, I've never tried them, so I don't really have a horse in that race on whether or not Herman Miller chairs are worth their price or whatever. But all I can tell you is Andy Owen is not worth her salary because she just embarrassed that whole company. In a nutshell, she had a video come out that surfaced where she was telling the employees that they need to stop worrying about not receiving company bonuses. They need to just do the work and everything's going to be alright. They need to focus instead on hitting their company's $26 million sales goal, and that's all that matters. Fuck bonuses, who cares? Meanwhile, she's getting a nearly like $4 million bonus herself. So the employee bonuses are kaput, but hers is still just fine. And her video is just so bad. And it was so bad, in fact, that she has already released an apology. In an email sent to employees, she said, "I want to be transparent and empathetic, and as I continue to reflect on this instance, I feel terrible that my rallying cry seemed insensitive. What I'd hoped would energize the team to meet a challenge we've met many times before landed in a way that I did not intend, and for that I am sorry. Nothing will lessen the power and strength of our collective team. My appreciation for each of you is huge, and I will continue to do everything I can to help us meet our shared goals. Thank you for your hard work, your grace, and for the commitment you show to one another and our company every single day." This is a big nothing burger. This is actual garbage. Like, as far as apologies go, this is about as insincere as it gets. This is corporate PR speak. It's not like she was giving a rallying cry. She literally just started vomiting, just diarrheaing out cliches and just worthless platitudes to her employees before getting visibly angry that her employees were upset about not getting a bonus, and then even told them to leave Pity City. So it's all stupid here. This apology is trash.
The most important thing we can do right now is focus on the things that we can control.
Oh.
None of us could have predicted COVID. None of us could have predicted supply chain. None of us could have predicted bank failures. But what we can do is stay in front of our customers, provide the best customer service.
Maybe I should really understand the situation beforehand. So this right now sounds like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with axing the bonuses last minute. After telling employees to leave Pity City over lack of bonuses. Damn. Actually dropped an unironic welcome to the wambulance. How about a side of French fries? Jesus Christ. CEO of the high-end furniture company is sparking backlash over video in which she exhorts employees to leave Pity City. After some asked about staying motivated in the absence of a company bonus, Andy Owen, whose company Miller Knoll sells the iconic Herman Miller Aeron chair, along with other upscale furniture, responded in a 1 minute 21 second clip. Okay, this is all about the clip. What's like the actual situation though? So it looks like she got a multi-million-dollar bonus and canceled all of the employees' bonuses. Okay. Is there any reasoning at all beforehand? Any like prerequisite lore I need to be familiar with? Doesn't seem like it. Also, Herman Miller chairs I know are like the holy grail of comfort for people. Matt, for example, can't stop talking about Herman Miller chairs. But I've never seen nor tried one.
Service we can. Get our orders out our door. Treat each other well. Be kind. Be respectful. Focus on the future because it will be bright. It's not good to be in a situation we're in today, but we're not going to be here forever. It is going to get better. So lead.
So many platitudes so quickly.
Treat people well. Talk to them, be kind, and get after it. Don't ask about, what are we going to do if we don't get a bonus?
Oh, yeah, she's starting to get a little animated. She's literally just regurgitating the biggest fucking cliches of all time. Everything she said there was nothing but buzzword nonsense. Jesus Christ. It reminds me of that clip from that streamer who's like, well, why don't we just throw ourselves off a bridge? The world is dying. The animals are leaving. And that's okay because all we need is ourselves. And do you really need anything else? Or whatever. And then it goes into the Call of Duty montage. What was that speech again? That's up there with like some of the greats like We Choose to Go to the Moon. I think it was Invader Vice. I think she was the one that said it, right? Oh, here it is. The planet is dying, the government hates us, the animals are leaving, the aliens aren't contacting us, we might be alone, but that's okay because do you really need anyone else? And then 30 Seconds to Mars starts playing. There we go, found it. I just didn't feel like getting DMCA'd by 30 Seconds to Mars. Jared Leto coming in.
Get the damn $26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? I would appreciate that.
Damn, she's popping off.
I had an old boss who said to me one time,
she's getting upset.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Damn. Welcome to Shitty City, population Andy Owens. God, good lord. I mean, I think it's totally reasonable, like, hey, can we have our bonuses? And also, why do you get a huge bonus? It seems like she doesn't even have a reason for withholding bonuses or canceling them or whatever. She's like, yeah, there's no bonuses. She doesn't understand people can't even afford to live in Pity City. True, I guess. Not without these bonuses. I also love someone in her position pretending like she's out there making the chairs. Like, alright, it's time we bring ourselves up by our own bootstraps here and start really getting to work on those chairs, alright? We don't need to focus on these bonuses, we just gotta put our head down and do it. As if she's out there with like a fucking wrench and screwdriver. I'll play the Invader Vi clip, but I'm not playing the one with 30 Seconds to Mars. That is like a fast pass to DMCA. I'm not even fucking with it. Here, I'll give the OG original. Damn, I didn't realize this was like 4 minutes worth of monologue.
Faking these things, and that I'm psychotic, that I'm 88 motherfucker, even more into the blanket for it, and I think that we can do it together.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know that I can't do it by myself, because I come in here every single day, covered in glitter, covered in sequins, covered in booty shorts, covered in nylons, so that I do not violate the terms of service, so that each and every one of you can have both.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So you can have a good time listening to me, playing with me, singing with me, smiling with me. You guys, a lot. I'm just throwing ourselves off a bridge.
Here we go, here it is.
What the fuck is stopping us from just throwing ourselves off a bridge and giving up and saying, yeah, the planet is dying.
Yes.
The government hates us.
Preach.
The animals are leaving. The aliens aren't contacting us. We might be alone. It just might be you and me. But that's okay, because do you really need anyone else?
And then 30 Seconds to Mars. Damn, that's a crazy speech though. Holy shit, she was in the zone. That was a flow state. I only I've never seen it in its entirety. I've only seen that ending. But why did she say all that? I don't know, man. I still don't know where the animals were going. There's just a whole lot to unpack with that speech. I've talked about tons of evil companies and industries over the years, but the one I want to talk about today makes Umbrella Corp from Resident Evil look like Weenie Hut Jr. Health insurance. Now, I've ranted and raved about health insurance on stream quite a few times, way before the big thing that happened recently. And I'll just be clear up front that I'm not here to talk too much about Brian Thompson getting banished to the Shadow Realm. I'm here to talk mainly about health insurance itself and how corrupt and malicious it is, as well as the United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty's video that he made about the response to this whole thing. So to be clear, Brian Thompson was the CEO of United's insurance division. Andrew Whitty is the CEO of United Health Group.
I'm sure everybody has been disturbed by the amount of negative and in many cases vitriolic media and commentary that has been produced over the last few days, particularly in the social media environment.
Yeah, mean words are so much more disturbing than an entire business model that revolves around making oodles of cash off the corpses of your clients as you knowingly deny coverage for life-saving medical treatment for those individuals that have been paying you for so long, for the single purpose of you stepping in to help in an emergency situation. Then when that unfortunate time arises, it's just crickets and radio silence, and then like a giant stamp of denied from United. Here's a nice little graph that helps showcase how efficient these health insurance providers have become at denying your claims. And United Healthcare, they got it down to a science. They are way out in front. They got the gold medal with 33% denied claims. To put that into Fortnite terms, United is grittying to a fucking winner chicken dinner dubski as you and your loved ones are dying. It's no surprise why people hate health insurance. It's not a political issue like a lot of people are trying to make it. You can see some of the usual suspects on YouTube saying things like, oh, the lefties are celebrating the death of this healthcare CEO, an innocent man just looking to put food on the table for his families. And if you look at the comments, it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, everyone has been fucked equally by health insurance. They are the Thanos level threat to human beings' survival. Everybody knows somebody, and you may even be the victim yourself, that has been denied by their health insurance provider because the whole purpose of the health insurance business model is you pay them for a long period of time to do a single task for you, which is help in an emergency situation, and their goal is to find ways out of doing that task you pay them for, to fuck you in the face, literally just let people croak because they don't want to pay the money to cover those procedures that could save someone's life. They make money off normal people dying, and normal people are paying them for the service. It is so fucked up.
And I want to reassure you of a few things. Firstly, we are going to continue to make sure that we put patients, consumers, and members first, as we always have done.
What? Pardon? I must not have heard him right. There's no way Mr. Krabs just tried to sit there with a straight face looking like my wrinkled nutsack saying that United has always put members, consumers, and patients first. What? I mean, oh, maybe he meant like putting them first in the ground after they deny the life-saving medical treatment that they were looking for. Maybe that's what he meant. I'm not entirely sure, but there's no way he actually tried to say that United puts the patients first, right? There's no way. I mean, you could just look at the data. 33% of all claims being denied? Like, in what universe does he think anyone's going to believe that? Everybody has been affected by this. It's not like this is some big secret. Everyone knows how fucking foul the health insurance industry is, and United is the worst offender. Like, here, I'll give you actual footage of the United CEO anytime one of its clients die after a denied claim. Man, I just broke that. Man, look what you made me do, Andrew! Look what you made me do!
The mission of this company is truly to make sure that we help the system improve by helping the experience for individuals get better and better.
Mission failed then, Andrew, in the biggest possible way. And the response that you're seeing to all this should be a pretty clear indication that every single human being on the planet that has been cursed with United health insurance coverage feels that the experience has only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse as you have made more and more and more and more and more and more doubloons off of denying claims. Hey, real quick, Andrew, can you go ahead and put on your reading glasses and take a peek at this for me? Look at this chart and tell me exactly whose experience has been getting better? Because it's not the normal American that has to have health insurance. It seems more like it might just be United Health Group itself. I'll quickly take a moment to play in the pigpen and tackle the most brain dead that are trying to justify or defend the health insurance companies. Like, I couldn't imagine anything more pathetic than doing free PR for health insurance of all things, but there are those absolute worms out there doing that in the trenches right now. I see a lot of people making the comparison that a health insurance provider denying a claim is not the same as killing someone. It's fundamentally doing that. If someone's coming to their health insurance that they've been paying for how many years, and they are looking for coverage for a very expensive medical procedure, and they say no, and that person dies because they no longer could afford that medical procedure that would have saved their life, then that is the insurance provider fundamentally killing that person. And the comparison that some of the pseudo-intellectual enlightened super dweebs on Twitter are comparing it to is saying like, oh, well, if someone needs a kidney and you're not on the kidney donor list so you don't give them a kidney, did you murder that person? Shouldn't even really need to explain why that's absolute dog shit, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. Was that person paying you for years and years with the sole purpose of you donating that kidney to them should they need it? Probably not. They weren't a client or anything like that. Like, not being a kidney donor is completely different than being a health insurance provider who is paid for a sole task, and then they do everything they can to not do that task. And then when someone dies as a result of their refusal to do that task they have been paid for, that is the health insurance provider having a big hand in that person's demise. Another pretty obvious difference here is that giving a kidney is an extremely big deal. Like, that is a risky thing to the person who does it, whereas in health insurance, the only risk in paying for someone's medical procedure is that your shareholders might not get as many millions of dollars because now you might actually have to start doing what people are paying you for. If there is a chance that United Health paying for a medical procedure means they can't afford to pay for someone else's, then they shouldn't be in business in the fucking first place. It means they're trash at what they're supposed to be doing. They're being paid by everyone to do this task of covering their medical procedures when they need it. And if they can't afford to do that, they should not be around.
There was nobody who did more to try and advance that mission than Brian Thompson. And there are very few people in the history of the US healthcare industry who had a bigger positive effect on American healthcare than Brian.
Hey, come back to reality. Andrew, we're losing you. You're fading into Narnia right now. What are you talking about, man? Making tens of millions of dollars at a company that leads the nation in denied health insurance claims is not pushing the industry in any positive direction for normal Americans, man.
And we are going to make sure that we not only acknowledge and honor that legacy of Brian, but we will continue it.
That's right, everyone. We are going to be pushing for 50% denied claims next year in honor of this mission. It's a lofty goal, but I think we can deny even more claims come 2025. So mark your calendars. 2025 is United's year. We're making history. Half of all claims will be denied. Mark my words. Like, this isn't something to get excited about, man. The mission has just been growing your profits while denying more claims. So you proudly announcing that you're going to be continuing that mission is about as painful as you coming out and saying that you're going to continue waterboarding me. Like, why would I be pumping my fist about that? The only one that gets excited there is your shareholders.
Our role is a critical role, and we make sure that care is safe, appropriate, and is delivered when people need it. And we guard against the pressures that exist for unsafe care or for unnecessary care to be delivered in a way which makes the whole system too complex and ultimately unsustainable.
What is sustainable, though, is all of that growth United keeps experiencing. That's what really matters. We need to make sure that is sustained. This is garbage, man. This is actual just baloney. He's just blabbering about nothing. It's a yappuccino trying to spin this as like them trying to do something good. It's not. What Andrew and his company deem unnecessary care is completely unreasonable oftentimes, where it is very necessary for the patient to stay alive. Well, we denied this claim because we felt it was unnecessary, because we did a cost-benefit analysis and we concluded that the patient was going to die in 60 years anyway, so what's really the point in spending all this money to keep them alive now when they're just going to kick the bucket in, you know, a couple of decades?
So we're going to continue to make that case. We will continue to do the work we do. And I have never been more proud of this company and our colleagues and what this company does on behalf of people in need across the country.
You would really think, with what happened here, someone like Andrew, and I don't believe that he's even really human anymore. I believe he has sold his soul many, many years ago and is just this hollow husk that's only filled with money. But you would still think at some point the neurons would fire in his noodle and he'd see this response and be like, that mission, you know, about helping people, kind of failed at that, didn't we? Maybe we should do something different. But he hasn't even had that realization. Or maybe he has and he just doesn't care, which is the more likely explanation. But you would just truly think that the reality would set in like, oh, people fucking hate us. People are awake to how exploitative we are and how we are actively making their lives harder.
I encourage you to tune out that critical noise that we're hearing right now. It does not reflect reality. It is simply a sign of an era in which we live.
Great advice. All those people talking about how corrupt this industry is, yes, please plug your ears to that so that way you don't actually hear from the victims of our business model. We don't want you to start feeling sympathy for the numbers on our bottom line, all right? We need to make sure that we don't look at them as anything real. They're just imaginary NPCs for our money, and we like that money, don't we? It's just so crazy. It's so crazy. He's saying that it doesn't reflect reality. Brother, that is the reality. These are your clients that are coming out and sharing their experiences. It doesn't get any more real than that. As opposed to your fucking barnacles that you're vomiting out here, that is the fraudulent fakeness. The reality is that people have been fucked by your health insurance company and plenty of others. The industry is rotten to its very core, and people know that, which is why this isn't some big political issue of left and right. Everyone is united in how hard they have been fucked and how many times they have seen people be affected negatively by this industry. And this guy just refuses to let that set in, and he's trying to brainwash his employees to just be numb to it and pay no attention to it.
What we must do is focus on what we know to be true. And what we know to be true is that the health system needs a company like United Health Group, and it needs people like Brian within it. We're fortunate that within this company, we have so many people driven and inspired in the same way that Brian was, and we will continue in our journey to help everybody who needs it within the health environment.
It's just crazy. I know I don't need to keep ranting about it, but it actually does just blow my mind that he would even say things like that, which are so provably false. It's honestly like almost a threat that they have plenty of other people like Brian in the company that are as inspired as Brian and focusing on what Brian was focusing on, which is clearly the profits in the company and denying more claims so they can make more money. That's a bad thing. And he's just talking about it like it's an accolade to be super proud of and something to be excited about. It's just frightening. It's actually just frightening. So yeah, I wanted to rant about health insurance a little bit. That's it. See ya. Whenever I see a massive company start to show signs of failure and going down the path of collapse, I'm often reminded of the late, great Blockbuster, God rest its soul. The pioneer who really did it first. A company deemed too big to fail, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. And since then, there's been a couple other companies that have gone down a similar path, and right now there is a new one pulling a Blockbuster, Niji Sanji. Whether or not you're a huge VTuber fan, you're at least familiar with the industry. VTubing is huge, and it has been for years now. It's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions. And in this space, there are two agencies that stand atop the others as kind of the titans of the space. It's Hololive and Niji-Sanji. Now, Niji-Sanji has an English branch that right now is going through one of the most foul displays of mismanagement, cruelty, and just downright terrible business practice I've seen in quite some time. It's a real head scratcher because every single day they continue to dig themselves a deeper and deeper hole. It's like this company is run by a Voltorb that is obsessed with using the move self-destruct. It is just bent on burying itself. So I definitely wanted to talk about it now that I'm fully caught up on the situation. There is so much to go over. There's a really good video that breaks down like the main timeline here for what happened. It comes from Mujin. I'll go ahead and play the main catalyst for this, and then I'm going to actually turn to a series of Reddit comments that were left that I think go over the entire history of the Niji-Sanji problems that have come to light, and then fast forward to what just happened last night, where an even bigger controversy just unfolded. So there really is a lot to cover, and all of it's looking terrible for Niji-Sanji, the English branch, that is. Now, when I first was made aware of this on stream a little while ago, I said that I'm not even surprised by it because a lot of these VTuber agencies have a history of some very terrible things going on behind the scenes. Many of you know I started my own agency for YouTubers and streamers a while back called Human Media Group. We recently merged with Jimmy Here's group and became Mana Talent Group. And over the years, I've actually seen a couple of these VTuber contracts that they were formerly under. And it is downright evil what some of them were doing to the talent that they manage. I obviously can't get into the specifics of it, but it is some horrible stuff, that some really bad stories and bad things that we saw from that. But even being familiar with some of the horror stories that we'd learned over the years from some agencies, I was shocked to see just how bad Niji-Sanji was here. So I want to focus more on the most recent stuff that just happened, but I still would like to give you a foundation for what started all of it. So for that, I'll turn to this clip from Mujin's video that breaks down this whole situation and just give you the catalyst. This was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, fundamentally, that kicked off this world war against Niji-Sanji, all of which they brought upon themselves by being just complete, unreasonable, evil assholes.
It all started on Christmas Day, a day you're meant to enjoy with family. It couldn't have gone worse. The trigger for this entire catastrophe? A music video. Selen had worked on a music video for her fans. She paid $15,000 out of her own pocket because Niji-Sanji wouldn't fund it. And on top of not funding it, what did they do? They take down the video in under 24 hours. No explanation to the public. Remember what I said about corporations and how they have access to all social media of their VTubers? Yeah, that's what happened, and she couldn't do anything about it. All she could realistically do under the very tight contracts and NDAs of a corporation is make up a vague tweet, sort of explaining what's going on to her fans.
Selen was a VTuber that was very popular and was with Niji-Sanji's English branch. And she had a history of being super involved in her community. She called them Dragoons. And she wanted to do a special music video for the community and paid $15,000 out of her own pocket to make it happen for the fans. And she posted it, thinking that it was totally okay to do because she self-funded it when Niji-Sanji declined to, but they made a big stink about it and took the video down, even though she had permission for the song that was used and even though it came from her own piggy bank instead of theirs. They didn't like that it didn't get the proper approval through the internal management. Because the way Niji-Sanji runs their company, it's with a fucking iron fist. You need permission to fart on stream as a VTuber under that agency. And since she didn't get all of the proper channels to sign off on it, they took it down. Which of course was a huge hit to Selen and her community because they worked very hard on that project. So she made a vague statement explaining that, well, management took it down, but she actually encouraged her community to re-upload it across the platform because she wanted it to live on. And she assumed that would be okay because, you know, it's not on her channel anymore, so they shouldn't have a problem with it. But they did. This soured relations between Selen and Niji-Sanji, and behind the scenes it led to a lot of harassment and bullying from Niji-Sanji against Selen.
Because out of nowhere, on December 27th, she tweets on her account, "I apologize for the silence. I've been in the hospital after an accident and will be staying there for a few days to be under supervision. I just got back access to my phone yesterday." Now, of course, people were happy she was out of the hospital, but the concern was still there. It was very vague and people didn't know what was going on. The Selen Tatsuki termination notice. I will not be silenced anymore. On December, I was hospitalized for an attempt that was caused by a buildup of bullying from within and being in a toxic and poor environment for numerous months that led to my breaking point. I requested to leave first, but on more neutral terms on the 26th of January.
Obviously, I chopped this up and Frankenstein together this little segment to give you a very concise timeline. So, Selen made a post about how she's going to need to take some time away after an accident that landed her in the hospital. Everything was very vague. Eventually, she explains that she's been discharged from the hospital, and then shortly thereafter, Niji-Sanji English branch announced the termination of Selen Tatsuki. The termination letter is very poorly explained as to why she's exactly being fired. Now, when it comes to VTubers, there's two ways that departing a company goes. One is a graduation stream, where they graduate from the company and it means that they are leaving on good terms. So they have like a big send-off farewell stream and that's the end of it. Sail off into the sunset, sunshine and rainbows, it's a happy ending. You get the good ending. Or there's this, where you just get publicly terminated and just fucking slapped down by the company like this. And in this case, obviously, Selen got the latter, where they just said, she's gone. Now, if you're not familiar with VTubing, when you sign with an agency like Niji-Sanji, they basically own you. They give you your VTuber avatar, they own all of your socials, your channels, everything. You are unable to operate with any type of autonomy. You are under their thumb, and they basically own all of it. So she lost access to everything here, and she actually didn't even know she was being terminated. She found out when this tweet dropped. They didn't even notify her. And the tweet, again, is very poorly explaining things. They talk about Selen like it's a fucking IKEA furniture tutorial on how to put it together. It's just like talking about a bunch of nonsense about authorization flows not making sense and whatever. And then they cite like the music video and how when she made the tweet that management took it down, it damaged their brand and caused problems for them, this and that. It was just fucking stupid, a bunch of dirty barnacles. And then Selen went to her original account, her original brand of Doki Bird, to explain what actually happened is that due to the harassment and bullying and the toxic environment Niji-Sanji created, she made an attempt on her own life and landed in the hospital. Luckily, she survived and is still with us today, but she no longer would be silenced by this company and bullied into being silent, so she started to explain what happened behind the scenes that led to all of this stress and all of these problems. She lawyered up and is engaged in now a legal battle with Niji-Sanji, presumably, that is being worked on. And that is where all of this really started. That's when the floodgates opened. And with all of this information out there now, people were able to go back to some previous Niji-Sanji talent with a finer tooth comb and see that the signs of a sinking ship had been there for quite a while. Signs of a company that mistreats its employees, signs of a company that is mismanaged and just downright diabolical behind closed doors. And I want to go over that because we have a lore master in the comments section of a live stream fails clip that I think does an extraordinary job of just laying all of this information out. So our guide is Weebshitter69. A great name for a great philosopher. So Weebshitter starts by explaining what Niji-Sanji is and how big Niji-Sanji is. And then takes us back to the past. March 10th, 2023, one of Niji-Sanji's newer talents, Zion Lanza, was terminated, which again is being fired, publicly, and then put out this bullet point list of the infractions that they accrued. And at the time, people sided with Niji-Sanji, but then stated that the way they handled it was a little unprofessional, especially coming from a multi-million-dollar company, and just overall not great. But since Zion no longer had access to their accounts, she returned to her original account that she had before joining, which was Sayu Synchronicity. Now, if you've followed this story for a while, you've probably seen this meme tossed around about Sayu was right, or Sayu trying to warn us, and this is what they're referring to. On that account, she revealed more information about her own experiences inside the company, hinting at a toxic environment, incompetent management and bullying, stealth suspensions, etc., and she further stated that she hopes other talent realize their own worth and that they deserve better. Some people sided with Sayu, but most didn't at the time. Then in May of 2023, Selin Tatsuki hosts a contest letting her fans design her next outfit. Niji-sanji management tried to put a stop to the very act of compensating the artists for their designs, while also trying to assert that artists who enter the contest should hand over the rights to the artwork for free. Selin refuses this notion and pays the winners out of her own pocket instead. She, a while after that, hinted that management no longer allowed her to organize events anymore, which sounds about par for the course for a company like Niji-sanji, where July 8th of 2023, Nina Kosaka graduated, meaning they left on good terms, had a farewell stream, but then comes back later with V Shoujo, which is another VTuber agency, as Matara Khan. That information will be pertinent later. August 27th of 2023, Mista Rias also graduates, saying that he was burnt out and no longer had any drive, and reappeared shortly after as K9 Kudo as the first male VTuber in V Shoujo. Again, information that'll be important here soon. Once they settled in, statements from both of them saying how surprised they were that management in V Shoujo were actually helping them achieve their creative aspirations started to come out, and how they finally feel like they have worth after being repeatedly told by some that they did not, strongly echoing Sayu's previous statements, even revealing that they did not receive the YouTube plaques on their own channels during their time in Niji-sanji, but rather that the company kept them. So, Niji-sanji kept the plaques from the YouTube channels, meaning the 100,000 subscriber play button or the gold play button for 1 million. The talent didn't even see that, which is just such a scummy thing to do, obviously. Now, while Sayu was a relatively new member of Niji-sanji at the time, Nina and Mista were considered cornerstone, thus the tides started to slowly turn. And then they jump a bit forward in the timeline, and that's when they fast forward to the Selin Christmas catastrophe with the music video that got taken down by management. And then in January, with the departure of Pomu Rainpuff, more people started to wonder how bad things were at Niji-sanji. Pomu Rainpuff was one of their biggest VTubers and shocked everyone when they announced their graduation in January. And it was even more shocking when people didn't hear from Selin since they were friends. So that's when people started to worry about her safety. And then in February, another liver named Kyo Kaneko announced the graduation, which again brought the community into an uproar, wondering, why is there so many people departing all at once here? Is there like a waiting list, like this fucking purgatory or something with people waiting to go to the other side? And then on February 5th, Niji-sanji released that termination notice. And that's when Doki Bird talked about what actually happened with her hospitalization following her unalive attempt that was built up from the stress that Niji-sanji put upon her. And a lot of information started to come out, both from artists and other people who had previously worked with them, claiming that working with Niji-sanji was never very good. There was delay in payments, NDAs being sent multiple times with the wrong name, just so many different things. But Selin had always paid the artists out of her own pocket during this period of turmoil while trying to work with Niji-sanji. And following all of this new information coming to light, the public was understandably outraged, because this is just some deplorable garbage. The dam broke and they were flooded with tons and tons of angry fans. The tornado blew through and picked up 500 septic tanks, and the shitstorm that came with it was something that Niji-sanji couldn't have possibly predicted. So Niji-sanji's stakeholders started to suffer. They lost several sponsorships because of all of this. Apparently their stock price, like their valuation or whatever, started to plummet as well. It was a huge hit to their company, and it only continues to get worse by the day. So Selin revealed that she had spent like $250,000 of her own money on projects throughout the last year there, so she made no profit. And a very interesting piece of information that people brought up is that in December of 2022, Mista Rias had a slip of the tongue revealing that talent only gets 1% of merch sales, and other reports stating that it was a whole 2%. And this serves to showcase that Niji-sanji doesn't just harass and bully their talent directly, they also financially fuck them. That is downright criminal. Only giving 1 or 2%, if they're feeling gracious enough, of merch sales to the talent is mind-boggling. And I saw a couple people defending this, and let me just go ahead and take you in real quick, because it looks like you blew in from Stupidville. That is unacceptable. Yes, the VTubers here don't actually own their avatar or anything. That does belong to Niji Sanji, and they signed the contract and agreed to that. But without them, that merch doesn't move. They are still the sole force for why that merch sells in the first place, thus should be compensated fairly. If they don't make that tweet about the merch being available, if they don't talk about it on stream, 0 people buy it. And to only give them a 1 or at most 2% cut of that is just laughably pathetic and it's just depraved, really. And this also led to a meme that you've probably seen if you've been keeping up with it, about how Niji Sanji's CEO was too busy on his yacht that he built on the back of his talent through exploiting them financially. It comes from this information, where apparently the CEO had flexed that he had a yacht that he had recently purchased or something. I didn't look into that too deeply, but I keep seeing that pop up everywhere with people citing different sources for it. I believe that that's probably something that happened because they are legitimately just exploiting their talent here. This is a completely unacceptable split. Under no circumstances should this be allowed. That is crazy. And what's even crazier is I know they're not the only ones that do that to their talent. In the VTuber space, I have seen some very unfair deals. Now, not this bad. I will say this is exceptionally horrible. But I wasn't surprised to learn that when I first saw that they take 98% of merch sales, because these VTuber agencies look for every possible way, at least the contracts I've seen from some of them, to squeeze every dime possible out of that talent while not letting them get the lion's share most of the time. I'm having to tiptoe around this a little bit because I don't want to get in any hot water with it. But yeah, it fucking sucks. That is awful. Now back to the Weeb Shitter archives here. Weeb Shitter then talks about what happened last night, which is what I want to talk about as well. So, the clip that he is referring to is Doki Bird was streaming. She has now come back to streaming, trying to, just have a good time with her community again, and things are going extremely well. She went from 10,000 subs to now over 500,000 subscribers. Her first stream back had over 100k concurrent. Absolutely fucking crushing it. And last night during her stream, which was her first gaming stream since being back, she had to end it early because fellow livers Alira Pandora, who'd been quiet since the announcement of Selin's termination, started a stream at the same time called A Message from Niji Sanji. And during the stream, she was joined by other Niji Sanji VTubers, Ike Eveland and Vox Akuma. Both of them were thought to be friends of Selin, or Doki Bird, and they read a totally not scripted message expressing how sad and betrayed they felt that Selin had given out personal information like real names and other required information about livers in her legal document that she sent over to Niji Sanji, and some of them stating that they had thoroughly read through it, as well as presenting Discord snippets between Selin and management when it was presented by them, thinking that it would absolve them. Now, I truly believe that Niji Sanji forced them to make this video. I think that they were 100% pressured into making this statement. I don't think the VTubers chose this, nor do I think they really believe what they were saying, because you'd have to be on some goddamn idiot juice to think that that was a good idea. Obviously, this is just inviting everyone in the community to throw tomatoes at you and scream, "Boo, boo, you stink." Like, it is a terrible statement from them, and the obvious big problem here, one that Doki Bird also had to call attention to, is that it seems Niji Sanji seemingly shared confidential information with these parties that are unrelated to the issues, which could potentially include her medical information. Which is fucking illegal. You can't do that. You can't just share this personal information. You can't break NDAs, and you certainly can't share sensitive medical information. There's protections in place for that. That's a highly illegal thing to do. Meanwhile, goofballs at fucking Niji Sanji here were real loosey-goosey with Doki Bird's information. Confidential information, it seems. So I'll go ahead and play the clip from Doki Bird when she learned about all of this.
Despite everything that has happened, I was very sad to find out a personal document that was only shown between 3 different parties had to be leaked out, because it was a document I made for my lawyer, and it was a document that was not supposed to be shown anywhere else but to me and my lawyer, and to the lawyers on the other side. And we were promised it was not to be shown anywhere else.
Because that's how the process is supposed to work in a fucking legal battle, where you're not sharing confidential information with others unrelated to the fucking legal battle taking place. But I guess Niji Sanji, being the goobers they are, for some reason tried to weaponize that information by giving it to Selin's friends, and most likely, I'll say there's a high chance, forcing them to make that video a message from Niji Sanji, which is a terrible video that I don't think they wanted to make, because they have to have known it'd be a disaster for them on a personal level. Like, their careers are definitely taking a hit because of that. Like, and I feel like they'd know that for sure. But I feel like Niji Sanji was trying to strong-arm them into doing it, because from the sound of things, it looks like anyone that signs with Niji Sanji is basically just their fucking hostage for the entire time you're with the agency. Dokibird went on Twitter to once again say that it was never supposed to be shown to anyone other than me, the lawyer, and any other relevant lawyers. It was a private document with personal information, and then expressed concern, wondering if her medical and hospital records were also released without her consent, since that was also promised to be kept private. She says she's currently talking to her lawyer, and thankfully only her diagnosis and reason for hospital stay was reported without further private info being disclosed. So that's currently where everything's at right now, and Niji Sanji is bleeding out. So much so that the CEO made his own little YouTuber apology video, which is trash. I was going to play you clips from his apology video, but with Niji Sanji, you never really know what stupid shit they're gonna do, so I didn't want to risk getting a strike on it for covering it. So instead, I'll just go ahead and refer to the article here. One of the main things that he apologizes for off rip is that after announcing the termination of Selin, there was a notice that was published saying that the impact this would have on the company's performance would be negligible. And he says that this was a misunderstanding, and they used inconsiderate word choice for it, and recognizes that Selin was integral to the growth of Niji Sanji English branch. And really the whole thing more just seems like a statement to investors, like on a business side of things, as opposed to like a legitimate apology for anything that happened. To me, it comes across as super corpo soulless suit speak, like, yeah, we terminated Selin, whatever, that's, well, who cares? What really matters is the investors not losing faith. So we'll make this video to try and regain that investor faith so we can keep raking in those big bucks. He promises like very vague things about change is coming, we need better systems in place that we're working towards this and that, but none of it really comes across as sincere, especially considering that if he really wanted to make a good faith, like strong stance like we need to change, start with monetarily. It's now come out that your talent gets fucked financially when it comes to their split on like merch sales and things like that. If you really want to make a good faith, like convincing, compelling argument that you're going to change, start there. I would like to see that, because you can easily showcase that one. It's going to be hard to convey to the public that you're changing things behind the scenes, because again, that's behind the scenes. It's always going to be something that the public's never going to be fully privy to, but your merch split with your talent, that is public. If you allow your VTubers to talk about it, they can say, hey, look, we just got raised up a ton of percentage when it comes to our merch split, and we really appreciate that. It's a sign of goodwill, you know, and maybe things will get better in the future elsewhere too. But personally, I don't see them making any meaningful changes to company culture or the way things happen behind the doors or anything monetarily. I just don't see them really doing a whole lot to improve. And I think the community feels largely the same way, which is why Niji Sanji continues to fester here. Now, while they haven't fully gone under or anything of that nature, they are definitely trending in a downward death spiral at the moment, where it seems more graduations are on the way, most likely, or perhaps even terminations to more talent, and the public is not super excited about the future of Niji Sanji English branch. Now, the English branch of Nijisanji is just one component of it. Its biggest is still the Japanese sector. But I have to imagine if the English branch flounders and fails, it's going to be bad for Nijisanji as a whole, because it still was a sizable chunk of their company, and that's going to affect that side of things too. So it's definitely something that they wouldn't like to see go away, I would imagine. But it's looking like it's going towards that direction. So anyway, I just wanted to cover this a bit because it is a huge deal, and one of those situations where a company that was really at a point where it was probably too big to fail is starting to fail. Truly by their own mismanagement, own problems, and own toxicity. And I'm wishing the absolute best for Doki Bird going forward. Hopefully the legal process she's engaged in is smooth and an easy W, and hopefully her streams continue to pop off. So best of luck to her, and yeah, that's really about it. See ya. On the list of horrible ideas, this has got to be pretty high up there. The CEO of Roblox is digging his heels into the ground, lat spreading with an idea, refusing to budge an inch. And it is a putrid idea most people find to be terrible. The CEO of Roblox wants adults to use the game for dating. That idea is so outlandish, it sounds like a sick joke. Roblox is a game primarily used by children. The overwhelming majority of the player base is kids, toddlers. And yeah, there definitely are adults that do play some Roblox games, but it's not the largest chunk of its audience. And given Roblox's history with how many cases, numerous cases there have been of adults preying on children through Roblox, to now try and cater Roblox to be a dating site for adults sounds like a recipe for disaster. I really don't understand this direction the CEO wants to start pushing Roblox. Man, smoking on that orb of confusion, because this shit is foul. It doesn't make any sense. The platform has millions of games on it for all kinds of different Roblox experiences, so I'm sure there are like dating games already in it right now. But for the CEO to come forward and say that he wants the game to be more focused on dating is so fucking odd. Especially in Roblox, but this would be weird in any game out there. If fucking Fortnite came forward and said, we're adding a dating server where you can only duo queue with a romantic love interest. Like they try and set it up like it's eHarmony or some shit. It's not only weird, it's dangerous. Like it doesn't make sense why the CEO of Roblox wants this to be some kind of core component to Roblox. So the CEO, David Baszucki, has really doubled down on this desire to make Roblox more of a dating experience for adults. Recently, in 2023, they did up the maturity rating so they could provide experiences that include blood and crude humor and alcohol and romantic themes. But in order to access that, the users have to prove their age, so they're required to share identification documents to prove it. But as mentioned in this article, there's not a whole lot to stop an underage user from just using their parents' ID. It's just not the best system. It's very easy for a kid to get around that if they just use their parents' ID, and then could end up in a romantic Chuck E. Cheese with a candlelit dinner with Jared Fogle. Anyway, though, the CEO still wants to provide a cozy space for relationships to bloom through movie screenings, concerts, and mixers, all hosted in the virtual space. Adults can get to know one another on a more intimate level. To Baszucki, it's a solution to a modern problem, a loneliness epidemic, as he called it. I'm so tired of people thinking that the loneliness epidemic is something that can be fixed by adding even more things that isolate people. It's the most ass-backwards approach to this ever. Is there a loneliness epidemic, a problem with tons of people being more and more lonely? You bet your sweet bippy there is. You're in denial if you're trying to argue otherwise. People are more isolated from one another than ever because all of their experiences come through the computer screen now. Very few people are getting the normal socialization that a lot of us growing up took for granted. How the fuck is also getting all of your dating experiences through the Roblox movie theater and pizza joint somehow helping with that loneliness epidemic? It is only exacerbating that issue of keeping you locked indoors away from other human beings. This is not a solution to the problem, it is another symptom of it and only makes the problem worse. This is not the direction to go if you're trying to tackle the loneliness epidemic. Also, Roblox is probably the worst place to do something like this. Again, this platform has had a history of a lot of predators using it, and also some of them not even being like taken down by Roblox themselves. So Roblox doesn't have a great track record when it comes to protecting kids on it. So I am not very confident that somehow Roblox dating is going to be, you know, all buttoned up where it's 100% always only adults going on dates in the first place. I feel like this is going to be a really, really messy, terrible thing that parents should be a little concerned with. It really is a fucking baffling decision, because Roblox is a gaming platform first and foremost, and it is primarily targeted towards kids, very young players. But with this decision and this fixation on this bad direction, the CEO wants it to also be viewed as a dating platform for adults. If you are a parent and your kid wants to play Roblox, but you're now hearing that it's mainly starting to be a platform for adults finding love, a dating platform for adults, you're hearing about adults that are hooking up because they met through Roblox, well, you're not going to want your kid on there, and you shouldn't. That's not a suitable place for them anymore if a lot of adults are now being conditioned to view Roblox as a place where they might go find a potential partner. That's not a good situation at all. Even if the CEO doesn't completely change the identity of Roblox to a dating site, even if it does maintain the gaming identity where it is primarily focused on games, it's still not a platform that is suitable for kids anymore if it is gaming with also a huge emphasis on adults dating. Those two should not be on the same platform ever. It's fucking weird. Thousands of adults will meet for the first time in Roblox dating experiences and subsequently form real-life relationships, he said in 2024. I think a lot of people who are too afraid to go on a real-life date might find it easier to have a virtual date to start, and then if they connect, move to the physical world. Oh, brother, this guy stinks. What are you talking about, man? If there are adults that want to connect and meet a potential partner, there are tons of platforms that offer that right now. It doesn't need to be Roblox. It shouldn't be Roblox. This is a gaming platform that has a majority user base of kids. It is weird to try and now make it also cater to adults to find love. I know it's been a pretty big meme about this, but it does really feel like it is some kind of CIA operation to catch pedophiles here with this Roblox dating experience that's trying to be offered. I think of Roblox as a platform to help loneliness and help bring connection. Can we do this in a way that is more civil and higher quality than any other company could? No. No, you can't. Roblox has failed numerous times in protecting kids from predators that are already on Roblox, even before offering the dating experience component. And also the article even mentions a recent one, which again is just one of many cases where Roblox has been used by pedophiles to do terrible things. And I can only imagine that that gets worse with Roblox trying to make this pivot into dating experiences, making it more of a focus. This is just a horrible idea no matter how you try and spin it. I don't know why he really keeps trying to sell this idea that it's to try and combat the loneliness epidemic. Once again, this only makes it worse. I really think one of the primary motivators for why he wants this so badly in Roblox is because he wants even more users in the ecosystem. Roblox is a behemoth that brings in unimaginable money, but it is mainly from kids. So I think he's trying to find ways to get more adults invested in the platform so they can make even more money. It's not only a bad idea, it's a dangerous idea. Anyway, though, that's really about it. So, yeah. Have you seen the Scentbird CEO? She does a podcast with her eyes closed to talk to spirits and said Hitler wasn't bad. What? The Scentbird CEO does this. Wait. I know Scentbird. Yeah, wait, you're right. The Scentbird CEO claims to be a spiritual medium. Or, sorry, not a spiritual medium, a spiritual guru. The co-founder of the Netflix for Fragrance, Mariah Nuraslamova, has been moonlighting as a spiritual influencer. Comments on extraterrestrials, The Matrix, and Hitler have recently attracted negative attention. Your teeth are not randomly crooked, there is a spiritual meaning. Every little aspect of the tooth is a map, right? This sounds beautifully unhinged. You see they found a cave on the moon? Oh, we got moon troglodytes now? That's pretty cool. This is the... I can't find the clips anywhere else right now, so right now, completely reliant on the YouTubers here to bless me with this info. I want to see these readings.
Version of the Matrix will be the default one. The 5th version of the Matrix is actively being incubated, and according to Maria, it's showing really good signs and is looking promising.
Now there is a new version of the Matrix that's being currently incubated. The 5th version of the Matrix.
Matrix 5?
That one is showing signs of really good promise, so...
Maria mentions having a direct...
Wait a minute, I need to go to our website. There's a Matrix 5 dropping? This is Maria. She is the CEO of Scintbird, which I think many of you have probably seen through YouTube sponsors. They were pretty big on influencer marketing, from what I recall.
So when you are inviting black into your body, you're not inviting demons, God forbid. You're not inviting evil into your body. You are inviting this moldable substance that contains all life inside, that contains all light inside, that contains the entire spectrum of everything.
Okay, so she's about to cast a hollow purple. I don't really care about that. Where did she do, like, the spiritual readings? Like, where she talks about Hitler and everything? I don't need to know about her curse technique.
I mean, I'm in the presence of an architect, of the Great Architects Council of Light, but sadly
that is big.
The case.
That is big.
Automatically crushed while listening to her guided meditation for an ultimate womb detox.
Whoa, an ultimate womb detox? Whoa, hey, hold on, I can use that.
Hello, my darlings, and welcome to Our Sacred Universe, a podcast where we meditate together.
I'm ready.
Today I wanted to offer you a womb healing practice.
Thank you.
Our womb space is where we deposit a lot of our hurt, a lot of our pain, a lot of our suffering. But a womb space, or if you will, our sacral space,
I have
something that everyone has.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
If you haven't checked out my book yet,
no, hold on. I don't need the hashtag ads here. Just give me my womb needs a little bit of assistance here.
Keep breathing in and out.
Imagine I just have a full body orgasm from this.
Your breath to ground and center yourself. Invite the healing vibrations of the universe to enter the sacred space of your womb.
See, like, we skip a step. How do I invite the healing vibrations of the universe to fuck my womb or whatever? Like, what do I do? Like, how do I send out the distress signal? That's where these guided meditations always fall apart for me. Like, they make it sound like it's so easy that I can just call upon healing vibrations. Like, I'm not a shaman. Like, can you call it for me? Thanks, membership, Oz. Book a reservation. Yeah, what availability do the healing vibrations have in the universe? I imagine they're probably pretty booked up. Why are you detoxing your womb? It sounded helpful. If you're just tuning in, to give you context, this individual, Maria, is the CEO of Scintbird, which is actually a pretty big company, or at least it was. I don't know if it still is. And according to Chatter, the Scintbird CEO has found herself into some controversy because of this line of work, where apparently she was saying that Hitler wasn't bad through her spiritual guru sessions, and I'm trying to locate that, but I'm getting all, like, sidetracked here, going through these alternate branching paths in the visual novel. So I'm still looking for that, but it's such an interesting tangent. Big thanks to OperaGX for sponsoring this video. OperaGX is the browser you see me use every single night on stream. It's just my go-to browser, and it has so many features that I just really have come to know and love. Obviously, the one that I always preach about, because it's the one I'm most enthusiastic about, is the fact that OperaGX is not a resource hog like Chrome and other browsers. It is so lightweight, but so powerful, and the GX mods that it offers are super fun, so you can really customize it to make it feel like your own and make it feel super unique. There's just so many things you can change and tinker around with. There's so many different ways of integrating extensions that you're already used to in other browsers to seamlessly transition them into Opera. They have the GX store. They just have so many features. The hot tabs killer, forcing things to go from flashbang into forced dark mode, so you don't have to go to a new website and then just get blinded by a bright light. It's just the best browser, in my opinion. So, big thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this. You can download Opera right now for free by clicking the link in the description. The dark truth about coffee, it is a toxin that darkens your aura? What? Coffee is bad for your aura?
It also darkens our aura as it does. As it does so, as it works with our body. So it's almost like when coffee gets into your aura, it creates these little anchors or these little dots of itself. It's almost like it gives an energetic imprint into your body.
What?
And though that energetic imprint is kind of what causes an addiction, because it's going.
The energetic imprint is what causes an addiction, and it darkens our aura through that. How the fuck does it touch my aura?
When you evolve.
Okay.
Over time, what ends up happening to your soul is you accumulate more and more light in your body. So you grow and expand, and you grow and expand by accumulating more light and kind of releasing darkness, if that makes sense. Over here,
it makes so much sense,
of
actually.
Things in your life are dependent on how much light you can hold within your body, especially if you're on spiritual path. For people that are able to hold on a lot of light in their auric fields, their spiritual gifts open up, their abundance channels open up, their
abundance
talents open
channels?
up, essentially like their higher selves come through, and then the body's considered clean, so your higher self is willing to inhabit more of your physical body.
What is happening?
And therefore you will always have connected, you become a channel.
That's a lot to process. She's blowing the lid wide open on what it means to be alive. Your higher self gave you this name for a reason. I mean, it's my dad's name. Is that the reason my higher self gave it to me? These are so interesting. I'm never gonna find the video where she's apparently talking about Hitler. I'm just gonna keep going down these wacky fucking titles. Why did my higher self name me Charles?
Hello, my darlings.
I feel like it's because it's my dad's name.
This is Maria. The topic for today is Maria.com. All right, the mystery of the name. This is kind of a fun topic.
It's not a mystery.
That is
It's just not a mystery for like most people.
I don't think it would be vowels and the consonants in the name, through the letters in the name, connects you to certain aspects of universal flow, universal energy, if you will.
Huh?
And because you're so attached, in a good way, to your name, you have a claim over those energies.
Okay, I claim all of the energies of C-H-A-R-L-E and S. No one else can have them. That's my domain now, and I'm kicking everyone else out. Eliminate pain and heal a specific organ or part of your body. Teaching you how to use the Force. Are you a star seed? Yes. One thing that did come up, though, is called the Karma of Atlantis. It's time to release it. Here's how you can do it right now. Like, raise Atlantis myself? I can do that?
Favorite YouTubers have promoted a brand that normally wouldn't show up on my scam/problematic radar scanner.
Scentbird.
Yeah, I told you it was a big thing. Told you that.
That at least outwardly, because the CEO of Scentbird, Maria Nurislamova, stinks.
Our bodies choose to miscarry children.
Oh.
It's not an accident that happens. It's a choice. If people were to align with their life purpose, we would see a lot less cancer on planet Earth. You could heal yourself from any disease. I don't care if it's cancer. I don't care if it's AIDS. It could be whatever. But you could heal yourself in the span of under 7 days.
We're going to talk about the spiritual reasons for being overweight.
Like Adolf Hitler is one of the poster children for like being an evil person. Do you know how many millions of souls benefited from learning from the experience that he has created? So is he evil? Not really. I don't think so.
Wow, Maria. Those spiritual sessions are sending you down the loony path.
A lot of hidden agendas by the powers that be. And those hidden agendas remain hidden because there is not enough heart space energy in humanity to be able to bring them to light. The heart energy is always the energy of light. The heart energy is always the energy that essentially you emanate your energy from the heart. The heart is one of those energies that if your heart is activated internally, you can heal your whole body in a matter.
I will say, if your heart isn't activated, you're probably not watching this video in the first place. You are dead. Most likely. Bearing some, like, very fringe cases.
That is the power of the heart. It changes your internal ecosystem and it changes your external ecosystem. It just does. It is meant to. It is.
Well, who knew? Who knew? It's like breathing techniques from Demon Slayer, but for your heart. It can do anything. It's just like a bunch of gobbledygook. This is like, there's nothing that binds these statements together. It's just like a random assortment of words that have no real meaning. This is the problem when I'm looking through pages like this. I get so distracted by so many cool titles. She has one here called Babies Control How Long Their Birth Is. Like, this is unhinged. God damn it.
That's why certain births take so long, is in the state of resistance. If the baby's in a state of fear, if the baby doesn't want to access their masculine energies, the birth process is going to take longer. That's why someone...
Wait, what? The baby doesn't want to tap into its masculine energies, so it doesn't want to be birthed? What the fuck? The baby comes out like scoops of, like, creatine. What in the world? Shit's not even born in amniotic fluid, it's just like a bunch of, like, trin. What is this? What is she talking about? This isn't even spiritual.
I have a hard time answering the question about evil because there is such a big gap between how humanity perceives good versus evil and how, you know, even beings in the seventh dimension perceive
the seventh dimension. Who's in the seventh dimension?
Higher self perceives.
Glorbus? Like, who are you communicating with in the seventh fucking dimension?
Stepping back, let's say your higher self wants to understand murder.
Should be easy
It's just
to understand.
A fascinating subject for your higher self.
Okay.
If it wants to understand murder,
Jesus Christ.
Angle. So your higher self may choose to come as a victim, as the mother of the victim, as the father of the victim.
Why?
As the teacher of the victim.
Why would it want to? So, based on what I've gathered, very limited exposure to her spiritual guru benevolence, it seems like she believes you are the product of your higher self wanting to be experimental. So when something bad happens, it's because your higher self is trying to learn about it. So here, she's using murder as an example. So if you are someone who gets murdered, or associated with the victim of a murder, it's because your higher self wanted to be in that position. It was all predestined because your higher self wanted to be present for it, to learn about it. Which is the dumbest idea ever. That's actually the stupidest fucking idea.
And by the way, like, look at Hitler. He's one of the poster children for, like, being an evil person. Do you know how many millions of souls benefited from learning from the experience that he has created? So
the
here,
world serpent has awakened.
You know,
like Tier 1
look
Hell
at
and Goldie.
A character like him and be like, oh, he's completely evil. And upstairs, his experience was the greatest, one of the greater, you know, sources of knowledge of, you know, of 3D planet Earth warfare.
3D planet Earth warfare.
And that is benefiting
what?
So many different souls on their.
This is a very interesting take, Maria. So, there's a lot to unpack there, Maria. There's a lot to process. The healing vibrations of the universe have not been kind to her frontal lobe. Wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Evolutionary path. So is he evil? Not really. I don't think so.
So interesting. So just it means that some higher selves choose to take this path, and it seems like it's maybe a bit less desirable than other ones because we don't have that many murderers and mass murderers especially, right? But they still choose to do so for their own development. Like,
well, do you want me to give you an even better example?
Yeah.
That was an incredible example,
Maria.
Maria.
World of Warcraft is evil because you're killing things?
Like in a computer game,
Yeah.
people don't think it's evil, yes.
I know. Same logic. It's a computer game from higher self level. Like, fine. Like, I don't know. Any of those
Same logic. Yeah, killing goblins in World of Warcraft is the same as Hitler for the Holocaust. You hypocrites. What an interesting character she is. Her higher self has very much done her a great justice. Her enlightenment is astounding. She's trolling. I don't know, she has a whole career based out of this, and apparently you can even pay for these sessions privately. But her main hustle is Scentbird, which again is a pretty popular product, or at least it was for a little while. She's the CEO of it, or at least was.
RPG games, I think RPG is what they're called, right? Like where you like go and like murder, you know, all kinds of beings.
They're not beings.
Sunday,
they're
with
pixels.
all kinds of weapons, and you're like, I need this strength and I need this skill, and let me have this gun, and I want a bigger gun and even more bullets and blah blah blah. I mean, you go in, you may have murdered 1,000 beings.
They're not beings. They're not real.
And then you go on your merry way, and nobody's pointing a finger at you at work and being like, this is a mass murderer. But how is that any different? So that's what I'm
That's
saying.
so
like,
good.
What you perceive as
Oh
evil
my god.
is not the same experience. Now, you as an avatar, right? You as a person who chooses to play a game, you choose what game you want to play, right? Like you may go and play Candy Crush. You may go.
She's so fascinating. Like she's dangerously stupid. Like actually stupid to a level where it could be harmful to people around her. Like there's nothing wrong with being like harmlessly dumb, but when you start to cross the threshold, the event horizon that she's to the point where like she is actually probably a threat to the safety of those around her. Yeah, like even her co-host is laughing at that. All right, we don't have to continue down this rabbit hole. I'll stop. This kind of shit though is always just so interesting to me. The co-host is her husband, who is also co-founder and CPO of Scentbird. That must be a great relationship. Honey, I'm gonna have a cup of coffee. And Maria comes out, no! Slaps the coffee mug out of his hands. It's gonna darken your aura! Remember what happened when you killed that level 6 thug in World of Warcraft? You're just like Hitler! How far would you go to be the best? The #1 in your industry? You've got to be willing to put everything on the line. And today's story is about a man who did just that. A man with dreams to be the #1 bouncy castle business. He wanted to be the jumping castle god. But unfortunately, he flew a little too close to the sun and his wings burned up. Well, not really his wings. He just burned up every business that also sold jumping castles. He committed a series of arson attacks on rival bouncy castle businesses. His name is James Balcom, and he looks like a silly character you'd make with a Dark Souls character creator. He's currently serving an 11-year sentence for all of this, and I just found the whole story so wild. I legitimately feel bad for all of the rival businesses because a few of them lost their entire business to his arson attacks. So there were very real victims and very real trauma from it, from having their literal place of work be lit on fire and fucking incinerated by this madman, this lunatic. So I wanted to go over this story here because it's a weird one. Did you see the video on Melbourne's bouncy castle king that was jailed over a string of fire attacks on his rival bouncy castle businesses? Oh my god, what? Anderson threw a Molotov cocktail through a smashed window at a business, causing a huge blaze that engulfed the factory and destroyed 110 jumping castles. And it looks like he's going to jail. And it looks like he's done quite a few of these. This is very interesting. This happened last month. You've been holding out on me? Why didn't you tell me about this? Jumping castle operator jailed over arson attacks on Melbourne rivals. James Balcom set on destroying rival businesses that if one fire caused minor damage, he commissioned another. Wow. He desired to be the #1 in Melbourne's jumping castle game, and had seen him jailed for up to 11 years over a series of arson attacks. What a crazy thing to commit your life to, being the #1 jumping castle guy. The whole bouncing castle cartel. It's so weird. It seems like most often the most unhinged business people are the ones in like the children's entertainment center or sphere. Like the bouncy castle guys running like an arson unit to take out competitors. Surprised this isn't from Florida. Fucking true. Amen. I am almost disappointed it's not from Florida, if I'm being honest. The County Court of Victoria heard that Balcom, whose company Awesome Party Hire was ranked #1 on Google after he commissioned the attacks on rival businesses, was arrested after he ordered that his own shed be torched. Galaxy Brain covering his tracks. No, I'm not the one behind the arson attacks. Look, someone lit my empty shed on fire last night. We have to put a stop to fucking Firefly ASAP. Please, God, anyone, the Human Torch is gone loose. He's rogue. Only way to stay on top. I would argue the only way to stay on top is to legitimately be the best jumping castle business as opposed to the only one that's not lit on fire. For example, let's say I'm in the market for getting some bouncy castles and I really want high quality product. I'm checking Google and Awesome Party Hire's #1. But then I scroll down and it says like all of the ones underneath it are literally cremated. I'd be like, this is fishy. I'll just get a bigger birthday cake. Fuck the castle. I feel like there'd just be like a very big red flag if that is the only jumping castle business that's left standing. 3 days after a March 2017 fire, Anderson was arrested and subsequently named Balcom as the instigator of the blaze and the attacks on rival businesses. Oh, so this has been going on for a while. Balcom, 58, appeared on Thursday by video link from prison in the county court where he was jailed for up to 11 years. Balcom has already served 2 years and 5 months and will be eligible for parole after 7 years and 10 months. Damn. They got him. I really am imagining like a Godfather situation. Like, it really seems so fucking intense in the bouncy castle game. You come to me on the eve of my daughter's birthday party and light my bouncy castle business on fire. You got some nerve. It's a dirty game in a cruel world. Yeah. It's not easy to put a smile on the face of children. It comes at a cost. And that cost is fire and flames. They're bouncing on the backs of the corpses of other bouncy castle businesses that came before them. And they don't even know it. It impacted the livelihood of others and caused significant loss, suffering, and emotional trauma. Yeah, I mean, yeah, arson will do that to you. One business was targeted 3 times. At that point, just hire full-time firefighters on standby. That is so interesting. What does he look like? I want to look him up. Oh, wow. This... I imagine you also got an image in your head of some, like, lunatic-looking guy. I'm just going to tell you right now, he looks exactly like the image you have in your head. This looks like an AI-generated arsonist. What the fuck? It's always the people you least expect, I suppose. Jesus. Why is his head so pointed? I don't know, man. I didn't create him in the Street Fighter 6 character creator. I have no idea. I didn't work on these sliders. He got done dirty, though, I'll tell you that much. God, this is so powerful. You became very successful in the jumping castle industry, but you also became completely fixated and obsessed with it. It consumed your every waking moment, Court Judge Stuart Bales told Balcom. You became the Dark Knight. You fell right into the Joker's palms. You're better than this, James. Gotham deserved more. Is that a mugshot? Yeah, he's already served 2 years of his sentence. So this must have been when they brought him in. They probably had to drag him kicking and screaming out of his bouncy castle. 110 jumping castles ignited and lost in an instant. Jesus, they lost their entire business from that. Yesterday, the CEO of YouTube stepped down. Susan announced that she would be walking away from the company and would be taking on a smaller role at Google, and she'd no longer be the public face of YouTube, a face that has historically been treated like a toilet seat by the community. Susan has shouldered the blame for the majority of the things wrong with the platform, and rightfully so, I would argue. She's basically just been the community's spittoon. For any time there's something wrong, people just start spitting on her and accusing her of being the mastermind, the puppet master behind all of the bad decisions. Whether or not that's true, I have no idea, but she was the CEO, and there were a lot of things that needed fixing, never got fixed, and YouTube has been in a tumultuous state over the 9 years of her at the helm. However, this led a lot of people to believe that with Susan stepping down, things would magically improve. A lot of people were pessimistic, but then over the course of the night, I noticed a lot more people being like, this is great, the platform's gonna be saved, holy shit, now we can have fucking Captain Underpants come in here and bring about the golden age, or, you know, this and that. Because Susan's no longer there, I mean, she's going to have to be replaced by somebody great, was the perception a lot of people started to adopt. However, in the wise words of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn, there's always a shittier fish. It was announced who the new CEO would be, and over the course of the night, people started to look into them. The new CEO is Neil Mohan, and Neil Mohan was previously the CPO of YouTube, the Chief Product Officer, and people found out that Neil Mohan was actually the one responsible for that huge push YouTube tried to make into the Web3 crypto NFT space. In 2022, this goofball proudly posted YouTube's most embarrassing update. It was a look at what's coming for the year, but what was really standing out to most people at the time was this ham-fisting of Web3 blockchain and NFT shit. So Web3 opens up new opportunities for creators. We believe new technologies like blockchain and NFTs can allow creators to build deeper relationships with their fans. Spoken like a true asshole who owns 2 Bored Apes and thinks he's going to own the planet. Together, they'll be able to collaborate on new projects and make money in ways not previously possible. For example, giving a verifiable way for fans to own unique videos, photos, art, and even experiences from their favorite creators could be a compelling prospect for creators and their audiences. So basically, just trying his best to justify an inclusion of Web3 crypto NFT shit. I'm going to tell you right now, NFT is one of the yuckiest words in the human language right now. It is an acronym that elicits more pain than CBT, cock and ball torture. It's painful, and it's synonymous with scams. And this was during a time where NFT crypto scams were still rampant. It's not like this was before the huge wave of bad actors came in and ruined NFTs. No, NFTs have been a scam for quite some time, even during this time that Neil tried to push it to YouTube. So there was huge pushback, and I guess somewhere along the pipeline, some team decided to slap this idea down, because we got lucky enough to not have it come to YouTube. But now that NFT Neil's at the helm here, the one at the top of the food chain calling the shots, who's to say he won't dust off this little poop nugget here that's an absolutely atrocious idea? And maybe this time around there's not that rogue vigilante Batman to say, not on my watch, and decline the idea. He is, like, the leader now of YouTube. And it's a little concerning how hog wild he wanted to go with Web3 coming to the platform. So that is very, not great, and a lot of people are much more pessimistic now after learning about this. But it also gets even worse. As Chief Product Officer of YouTube, that means Neil would have also had a hand in removing dislikes. Now, I'm not putting this entirely on his shoulders. This was a decision made by a lot of people at the highest level of YouTube, but Neil, as the CPO, would have 100% had a say in it, and it's very possible that he was for the removing of dislikes, which is another huge problem. That is still one of the worst features, or really removal of a feature, YouTube has ever had, and they still haven't backpedaled on it. And with Neil at the helm, I'm very less optimistic about it coming back, since he was already in a position that likely played a huge role in bringing it to the platform in the first place. I see a lot of people misattributing this solely to a Neil idea, but I can find no information on him being the one that proposed it. He was just leading a team that obviously worked on it. So maybe there is a chance Neil was outspoken against it but overruled by his peers. I'm hoping that's the case. Like I said, there's a very easy layup here with Neil as CEO to immediately earn the trust of the entire community, and that's to announce that dislikes are coming back. Dislikes will be public again. If he did that tomorrow, he's like, listen guys, I'm a champion of the people here, I'm bringing back dislikes, this was awful. I don't know what we were thinking, we were drinking stupid juice at the office when we came up with this idea. It's coming back. If he did that, everyone would immediately rally behind him and be like, oh my god, YouTube could possibly improve. He's going to listen to community feedback. This is great. But I'm not sold on that being in the realm of possibility ever. I'd like it to be, but after reading all of this about Neil, I'm starting to think he may have been a pretty important figure behind the scenes for some of the worst features that YouTube was toying around with. But again, this is speculation. He could come in and do an amazing job. And that's what I'm hoping for, but it is not a great start considering what he's publicly tried to bring to the platform in the way of fucking NFTs. Like that, the fact that he proudly posted about NFTs coming to YouTube and him wanting to be the one to spearhead the operation, that's just such a bad look off rip. Like that, you couldn't have started your reign as CEO in a worse way. It would have been better if his fucking nudes leaked. Like that's so much worse as being the guy trying to bring NFTs to the platform. Oh my god. But again, it remains to be seen. He could come in here and knock it out of the park, really fix up YouTube, really bring it to a better spot. Hopefully that'll be the case. I'm going to try not to focus too much on his past and instead look more at his future here as YouTube CEO. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to talk about this just a little bit. That's about it. So yeah. PU, Borderlands movie is a big stinker. Everyone knows it. If you've seen the movie, I'm sorry. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm jealous. It's truly atrocious no matter how you spin it. Every possible thing you could ever hope to enjoy about a film is absent in the Borderlands movie. I think it's unanimously hated across the board. If you find me one human being that says it's a good movie, I'll find you a liar. But I'm not here to just shit on the movie again. I did plenty of that yesterday. I cleaned out my whole colon on Borderlands yesterday. Today, I want to talk about the Take-Two CEO's response to the criticism, because it's not getting stellar reviews. There's not exactly glowing reviews. There's not a whole lot of enthusiasm behind what people are witnessing. And I'm using the word witness instead of watched because when you witness something, it's usually something traumatic, like some kind of tragedy, and that is very much what this movie is. So no one's happy about it from what I can tell, for good reason, it's just bad. And now good old goober Strauss Zelnick has spoken out about this, urging people to give the film a chance. Yeah, it may have debuted at a 0%, then finally up to a 3%, and then eventually even a 6%, really fucking shooting to the stars there. But hey, don't let that cloud your judgment of it. You know, as Darman taught us, you can't judge a book by its cover. Go give the film a chance. Go waste your money on this movie, says Strauss Zelnick. Now, Strauss Zelnick is the Take-Two CEO, and he's no stranger to putting on the squeaky nose. But god damn it, this clown always finds a way to surprise me with just how delusional he is. When asked if the film's success or failure will make any meaningful impact on Take-Two, Zelnick said no. Financially, the film won't make a dent. And then he dropped to his knees in his private jet saying, "Give the film a chance." Let's give the film a chance. A lot of people worked really hard on it. The underlying intellectual property is phenomenal. The cast is amazing. I think the look and feel is really terrific. So let's see what audiences have to say. But to answer your question, no, the performance of the film wouldn't have a financial impact on us or on the franchise one way or another. I am certain Strauss Zelnick has never touched Borderlands in his life. If he ever even held a game controller, I bet that shit would burn his flesh like a vampire in the sunlight. The guy is just a corporate drone. He is this husk that has human flesh grafted onto it. He's just this being of greed. He doesn't know Borderlands. I doubt he's ever touched the game, and I'm pretty confident he hasn't watched the movie either. In fact, I'm more confident that he hasn't seen the film than I am confident that the sun will rise tomorrow. I also love how he mentions the cast being terrific. How out of touch can you fucking be? That's one of the biggest complaints about the film from everyone with eyes. The casting in this movie makes no sense at all. It's clear the bulk of the budget went with just getting A-list celebrities on board. And they probably had to pay out the wazoo for it because none of them really seem like they want to be there at all. So they probably had to fucking fork over fat doubloons like Scrooge McDuck here to get them to put their name on this pile of dog shit. It is an embarrassing movie, and the actors seem embarrassed to be in it. So they spent all of their money getting Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, Cate Blanchett, Jack Black. Jack Black being the only one that tries at all in this film. Everyone else just like fucking sleepwalks through it. That is not something to highlight. It's very clear that the entire strategy for this film wasn't to make a good movie. It was to just try and sell tickets by having big names attached to it. It's the worst tactic ever. It's a certified how many times we have to teach you this lesson, old man moment. There are so many video game adaptations that have come before this that have proven infinite number of times now that this formula doesn't work. If you make an adaptation that doesn't pay respect to the source material and just doesn't even try, it doesn't work. It flops financially. The reception to it is bad. Like, look at the Halo show which recently just got canceled, or the plethora of old video game movies we can all point to over the last couple decades. I don't know what puppeteer is behind the scenes, the goddamn Illuminati over there, that keeps, like, infecting the brains of these Hollywood suits that are convincing them that the way to make adaptation successful is just by getting big name actors on board. Like, it just doesn't work, and they keep doing it. It's actual insanity. They spent $90 million on this star-studded cast for this $5 fart of a film that they produced here. It makes no sense. If you make a bad movie, it doesn't matter how much star power is behind it, it's not going to succeed. I don't know how that lesson hasn't been learned yet. Strauss also reached deep into his bag of tricks here to try and get more asses in the seats by playing the classic, come on guys, people worked really hard on this film, we should all support it. Does a bear shit in the woods? Obviously, there were some hardworking people behind the scenes on this film. Also, Strauss, since you really seem to care so much about the hardworking team here, you might want to look into why some of them didn't receive proper credit for their work. That's a bit suspicious, that's weird. But anyway, yes, there were people that worked hard on this movie, no doubt. But that doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's immune from criticism. It is not a good movie. And I would wager a guess that a lot of the people that worked hardest on this film were not the ones that were behind the scenes lobbying and pumping their fists saying, we need Kevin Hart in this movie, we need Cate Blanchett in this movie, pay fucking hand over fist amount of money to get Jamie Lee Curtis in our Borderlands movie. I imagine there was quite a few people that were actually passionate about Borderlands that were probably fucking crushed with what they had to do on this film, because it's not like they were at the top of the food chain putting together these awful decisions. And I also imagine the VFX department was dreadfully overworked, like Hollywood has become so accustomed to doing here, because ultimately the visuals are really rough. And I never blame the VFX departments for that, because now I've become very well aware of just how cruel the industry is to that entire sector, and my heart actually breaks for them. So I imagine all of the hardest working people were the ones that Strauss doesn't know a single name of. It's so silly to try and deflect by calling in the wambulance about, like, come on, someone worked really hard on this, you can't be mean to it. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It costs $15 to $20 per ticket to see this movie. That's a lot of fucking clams. And it's not worth it at all. And there's nothing wrong with talking about why it's not worth it. He then has the nerve to say that Take-Two is really selective about what games it turns into films, and says that the company doesn't want its imprint on anything unless it's superb. Really, Strauss? You would consider the Borderlands movie superb? This would meet that criteria? He then goes on to just reassure everyone that it's not core to them, you know, they don't need to be doing this because it doesn't have like a massive effect on them, like their bottom line or anything, so it'll probably maintain its approach to only doing so selectively in the foreseeable future. But this article did remind me that there is another project in the work here, a BioShock film at Netflix. If that didn't oh my god, I'm having a full-blown Porky Pig moment here out of pure disgust. If that didn't send shivers down your spine, I don't know what will. A BioShock Netflix film following the banger that is the Borderlands movie. What a recipe for success, huh? Who's counting the days, right? Like, get your calendars ready. I can't wait for that fucking thing to drop. That's gonna be a real heater. Throw out all your DVDs and Blu-rays and forget everything you thought you knew about cinema, because it's about to be redefined with the next fucking Take-Two film project here with BioShock coming to Netflix. Oh my bussy trembles in fear at the thought of how bad that might be. If the Borderlands movie is any indication of the quality coming forward, we're in for a real treat with the BioShock film. I'm already just preparing to be really stunned at how bad that one might be. They'll drop like the announcement trailer and it'll reveal that James Corden has been cast as a Big Daddy. It's just so weird to me how we're still getting horrible adaptations. The roadmap is there. We have seen so many good adaptations recently. Like, you can see that all of the success is right there, and they just out of spite choose not to follow that and instead just be like, no, we know better than fans of the property that we're adapting. In fact, we know the direction that people actually want to see it to make it accessible to all audiences. And then they do what they did 20 years ago when every adaptation was trash. Let's all point and laugh at the absolute floundering it's doing in the box office right now. It's open to $4 million so far. On a $100 million budget, that is super rough. Unsurprisingly, people aren't just blindly going to see it because of the A-list actors in it. They're not just zombies flooding in the door to watch this pile of shit just because those names are attached to it. It seems like you actually have to make a pretty decent movie too to get people to get in the seats. What an absolute clunker. 4 million is significantly lower than I would have ever imagined for this film, and I'm actually super proud that people aren't just going to see it just because of the title of it or the actors in it. It really isn't worth the time or money. So it's very reassuring to see that it's doing so poorly here, because it, under no circumstances, should succeed. It's purely a cash grab that isn't grabbing much cash right now. They actually would have made more money if they just compiled every cutscene from the Borderlands series into a movie and released it for free on YouTube. They probably would have made more off just the fucking AdSense from that, as opposed to this $100 million theatrical catastrophe. But yeah, don't listen to Strauss. It's not worth giving the film a chance. The movie's just bad. That's about it. See ya.